Welcome back. All right, so that's over. So the Vegas Golden Knights, until today, had never won a clinching game at home. The Vegas Golden Knights do that. Peter DeBoer had never lost a Game 7. The Minnesota Wild had never lost a Game 7. And so something had to give tonight, right? So early on, Stone and Marchessault both test Talbot, and you could see that Vegas was coming out in this game pretty bound and determined that they're going to Denver for Sunday. Vegas would press. Sturm then gets a chance as the Wild would press back. Bjugstad had a fast break. Fleury makes the save there. Pacioretty buzzes right back the other way. Vegas was in charge for most of the first 5 minutes. When Minnesota got a chance, it was normally a one and done. It was a fast break, and then Vegas would shut it down after Fleury made the save. And then Janmark scores at 5:09. That was a fast goal as well. And yeah, Matthias Janmark today, it's funny, when Vegas picked up Janmark right away, you'll see people saying, well, that's not a big deal because, Janmark defensively, his numbers in Chicago were, This is Vegas, man. Like, you've got guys who can back him up, and players will play different in different situations. And Janmark's a guy that I've always liked, and so I'm glad to see him doing well in Vegas. And then Fiala tries to answer. Vegas would press again. The Wild were under siege again, and there was a lot of times in this game where it felt like the Wild weren't able to get the puck out of their own zone. Although by the end of the first period, it looked like Minnesota was starting to maybe push back a lot, right? So the shots were 5-1 for Vegas at 8 minutes, and it felt like the Wild needed to survive the first period. We had no idea what was going to happen the second and third, but it felt like you need to survive the first period, maybe get the energy of the fans out of the game a little bit, and then be able to focus on what you need to do. Shot attempts were 16-6 for Vegas halfway through the period. Suter had a shot saved. Things get scrummy after. The Wild went to the power play. So the last game, I mentioned that there weren't enough hits by Vegas. I'm pretty sure Vegas had more hits in the first period of this game than they had in the entire last game. This was very physical. Now, Minnesota matched that physicality, but you could see the difference this made for the Vegas Golden Knights. The Wild get a power play. Really strong penalty kill by Vegas. They do kill that off. More hits then by Vegas. Parise gets a chance. That goes wide. Holden had a shot that deflects wide. Reeves, he checks Sturm right into the Vegas bench. And that brought the crowd to their feet. And honestly, Reeves was fantastic tonight. Fleury then fell down behind the net, but everything's all right. You see him fall down, and you're thinking, okay, A, in order to get hurt, and B, he's out of the net, he fell down. So if Minnesota gets that puck right now, but they didn't. It doesn't matter. There was no room for the Wild for the most part in the first period, and then all of a sudden they had some, and they scored. Parise from Eriksson Ek and Suter at 16:49. And it was a last-second redirect by Parise. No chance for Fleury on that one. Just a wild goal all around. And then in the last minute, there were chances for Zuccarello, and the crowd seemed quietly shocked by what they were witnessing. Very quiet closing minute, and that tying goal had definitely changed things. It's 1-1 after one, and there's some tension in the air at the Fortress. Second period, Brodin not on the bench to start. Brodin took a hit in the first period. He would not return to the game. That is a large problem, and it's just as large as Ekblad for Florida. It is a huge difference on that blue line without Brodin. And then Suter, it felt like, was playing probably a little bit below 100% as well. I think once we get through the next couple of days, I think we'll find out that some of that Wild defense was pretty dinged up. Yeah, he took a hit in the first period. There was a crossbar then for Kaprizov in the first minute. Holden fires one high as Vegas presses, and there was another quick start for Vegas, and then Haig. He scores from Karlsson at 2:05. And this is the thing. You get a goal from Janmark. You get a goal from Haig. You're not being hurt by Stone. You're not being hurt by the Karlsson line. These are the grunt guys that are getting it done, and that's a key thing in a Game 7, right? Building gets loud again at that. That's a goal off the face-off by Karlsson. The Wild then tried to answer. Fleury with a nice poke check. Roy gets a break. He hits the outside of the net, and Vegas would press after that. So Suter ends up going down. The Wild go to the power play. What happened was Suter's face was kind of bounced off the crossbar by Reeves on a check there. So, yeah, Reeves ends up going to the box. Suter would stay on the bench. He stays in the game. But like I said, I don't know how 100% he was after that. And then Kaprizov, He scores on the power play from Zuccarello and Spurgeon at 4:35, and it was right off the faceoff. Took 13 seconds. They get it done. They tie the game up again. So Minnesota, who spent the whole series not going away, in this game also not going away. Fleury then turned one over, but Vegas would clear it. Vegas presses at 5.5 minutes. Carlson's line pinned the Wild down, but Talbot making saves. And then it's Pacioretty. Pacioretty in his first game back from Stevenson and Theodore at 7:44. And, you know, the interesting thing with Pacioretty tonight was he was getting checked pretty hard. And you could see like cross checks in the lower back and things like that. That Minnesota knew Pacioretty's probably not 100%. And while they're not 100% sure of what exactly his injury is, you look at the way Pacioretty was treated tonight. That's why teams say upper body, lower body, or they don't give you an answer. Because players will go out there, and it's not... that's the way hockey always used to work. If you knew a guy had a bad ankle, you'd take a slash at it. If a guy had a bad shoulder, you'd hit him into the boards and try to hit that shoulder. It will be interesting to see if there's more transparency on injuries because of the gambling agreements they've got with certain sites and whatnot. If they have to have full transparency, if we start to see more of those hits, and if the NHL decides that they're going to step in as well, because it's not a good look for a league for a guy to go in and go, hey, look, you had a bad shoulder, so they took it out of the socket again. Like, so anyways, Pacioretty, he gets a goal there in his return. That was a big difference maker for Vegas. Hartman then fires one high as the Wild would try to answer. Talbot made a save on Stevenson, and Eriksson Ek was out at this point. He got hurt as well. The hits were 30-27 in favor of Vegas at the half, and that just felt like it was a big difference maker. That now every time Minnesota touches the puck, they're going to get hit. The punishment's on its way, and you've got a Minnesota team that clearly tonight was taking the worst of it, where we kept seeing Wild players leaving the game and not so much Vegas players. It definitely was Vegas hockey. The shots were 11-1 for Vegas at the half as well. So they were just, all the pressure was theirs. Things get kind of scrummy. Vegas gets a power play. During the penalty kill, Eriksson Ek returns to the game. So he was not 100%. You could see on the bench he was not 100%, but he returned. The Wild would kill it off. Fiala then had a shot that was saved after the penalty kill, but then it's Whitecloud. So again, another player you don't expect. He gets the goal from Theodore and Stevenson at 13:38, and that gives Vegas a 2-goal lead. And you could just feel that made a huge difference in this game, that it was a 2-goal lead, not one, and Vegas starts playing a lot better in that second period overall. And the second period was a problem all year for the Minnesota Wild, and that's something they're going to have to look at in the offseason. They struggled with it. The Wild would try to answer, but it felt like the 2-goal lead was huge for Vegas. Things get scrummy at the Vegas bench. One win for the Wild during the entire regular season and postseason for Minnesota if they've allowed 4 or more goals. So, just can't do it. Fleury then denies Sturm. Things get kind of scrummy, sticky at that point. Haig with a high stick on Bukestad was missed. That's what led to the kind of scrummy, sticky thing that was going on. And it was a 4-minute. If the referee saw that, that's a 4-minute penalty on Haig. It's a 2-goal game. Who knows? But they didn't call it. They didn't see it. 4-on-4 instead. There's a 2-on-1. Talbot would deny Theodore during that. Last minute, there was a press by Tuck, or a near miss by Tuck, and there was a press in the closing seconds by Vegas. So they're going to the third period. They're up by 2 goals, and they look like a very confident bunch. Third period. They mentioned the Wild had never lost a Game 7. And, April 30th of 2014 versus Colorado was their last victory in a Game 7. But Minnesota also hasn't been out of the first round in a long while either. So there's, Game 7 numbers are kind of a little bit touchy because of how far back you're looking, especially when I was looking it up. And 2 of them were in 2003. So that's 18 years ago. I'm going to go out on a limb and say none of the guys playing for Minnesota tonight played for the Wild 18 years ago. So, Vegas had another strong start to this period. No sustained pressure for the Wild. They weren't getting enough shots. Vegas was doing a lot of shot blocking early in that period. Things get scrummy, punchy at 6 minutes. And as guys are kind of throwing punches here and there and they're getting all scrummy, DJ makes my day. Now, I don't know that it's the same DJ that I met when I went to Vegas 3 years ago. But if it is, good job, kid. Played Macho Man by the Village People. And I have to admit, it would be hard. Isn't it hard for guys on the ice that are like, yeah, I'm so mad at you. And then you hear Macho Man and you're like, we look silly, don't we? Now they have Macho Man playing. I can't. Anyways, so there you go. Macho Man was playing, and 4 players, 2 for each team, go to the box. So, yeah, Vegas pressed after that was all cleared up. Fleury makes a save on a Fiala chance. Stone was causing a lot of turnovers. It's what Mark Stone does. Mark Stone is just the master of causing turnovers, knocking pucks off guys' sticks in the center ice. There's a reason that he's talked about for the Selke, even though that's usually given to a center. Stone being a winger does not hurt his ability to cover all areas of the ice and to cause turnovers. He is the best at it. I really honestly think he's the best one in the NHL at doing so. And his job against Colorado is going to be a challenge. That is going to be one heck of a challenge. Is Stone. I'm guessing he's up against the McKinnon line. Oh, that's going to be fantastic. I will be doing a preview for that series tomorrow. So, the Wild were definitely hanging on at this stage. Vegas presses again at the half, and there was a Wild turnover that caused that. Fleury stops a Hartman chance. Talbot denies Carlson, and then Janmark gets the second goal of the game from Waugh at 12:36. Suter had been guilty of a turnover at center ice, and he just didn't seem to have it at this stage of the game. And so the Wild never really recover from that, and it's Janmark that finishes it off. And again, I like Janmark. If I was going to get a Vegas jersey with a name on the back, it'd probably be Janmark. That would be the one. My Vegas jerseys, I don't have any that actually have a name on the back, but I would probably get Janmark put on the back, depending on how far they go. Because if he ends up leaving the team after the season, and if they lose in round 2 against Colorado, Janmark might be kind of weird. But so the Wild had been losing a lot of faceoffs as well. That doesn't help. So you're having trouble generating shots. You're also not getting the puck on the draw. You can be bad at faceoffs as long as you recover, but in Minnesota's case, they weren't recovering often enough. So you're putting yourself on your heels pretty quick there. So after that, Smith had a near miss on a rebound. They pulled the goalie with 5 minutes left because they're down by 3. So you have to pull the goaltender a lot earlier. An empty net miss then by Chandler Stevenson. But who gets the hattie? It's Janmark. Gets the hat trick from Tuck and Pietrangelo at 16:53. And the hats rain down. As the announcer said, might have been 12,000 hats on the ice. There certainly seemed to be a lot. That took a while to get cleaned up. And Vegas wins this one 6-2. Like I said, their first clinch at home. They get to play the Avs on Sunday. So tomorrow we'll do the preview for that series. That's Saturday. And then Sunday they go right to work. So the shots are 10-8 Minnesota in the first. In the second, it's 17-6 Vegas. 10-5 Vegas in the third. The final shot's 35-21 for Vegas. Power plays, Minnesota goes 1 for 2. Vegas goes 0 for 1. Not a lot of calls tonight. Hits 53-49 for Minnesota. But I'm going to say this. I think that while Vegas had fewer hits, theirs were more impactful. Definitely felt like theirs were hurting the players that they were against far more than they were getting hurt by the hits they were taking. Block shots 20-18 for Minnesota. Talbot saves 29 out of 34. He played well. He did. I don't know how many of these goals I would look at and say, oh, he should have saved that. And for Fleury, 19 saves on 21 shots. I know he took some flack for a couple losses there. Man, if a goaltender has a record like Fleury's and anybody's going to give him flack and blame him when he loses a game like Game 5 or 6, give your head a shake. Fleury's fantastic. Saves 19 out of 21. Get the chocolate Marc-Andre Fleury ready for display, because Vegas may very well end up going on a run. We'll see what happens against Colorado. Let me know your thoughts regarding this game and series in the comment section below as always. Game 7s are always great. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.